Thank you, Chair. Mr. Hearst, what is the total replacement cost of the material that we have expended in Iran to date? By the way, by material, I refer to munitions, I refer to, planes, to drones, to stuff that we keep in our stockpile.
Yeah, I'll exclude military construction from this because we don't know what that's going to look like in the future, but I would say it's around $24 billion.
Okay,
Replacement and repair.
and that's through what date?
That's our current estimate.
Okay. I'm looking at a report in the public sphere from CSIS dated April 21st, which calculates estimated cost, unit cost, aggregate unit cost of 7 precision systems. So I'm talking, Tomahawk, JASSM, PRISM, SM3, SM6, THAAD, Patriot, those 7 at about $25 billion. Does that sound about right? I mean, you're projecting everything at about 23.
Yeah, I'm most confident in our projections on munitions costs. That's the easiest thing to calculate. So that number sounds a little high to me for that stage of the war.
Okay. We've lost about 39 aircraft, according to a report in the war zone, and that's an old one. That's almost 1 month old. Do you have a replacement cost on all of those aircraft? Now, understanding that some of that aircraft is not replaceable, but presumably would have to replace it with some kind of capacity.
There are costs there, sir, but I want to get back to you in writing and what they specifically are, because as you can imagine, repair of aircraft is something that's very hard to calculate. We want to do a full diagnosis of the aircraft before we estimate that cost.
Okay, but that's not in your estimate of somewhere around 29 cost of war that you gave us?
That's included. That's what we have right now.
Oh, I see. That is part of it.
Yeah, but it's an estimate, especially for repair costs, and so that could change over time.
Okay. And you did talk about MILCON, which was a question that I had. Do you have any, because I mean, we've obviously suffered major damage to our infrastructure in the Middle East. You don't have a MILCON estimate yet?
We have a lot of unknowns there. We don't know what our future posture is going to be. We don't know how we construct those bases, and we don't know what part our allies or partners could pay into the MILCON costs. And so we don't have a good estimate for that at the time.
Okay. What about fuel? Is that a major calculation in your cost of war, fuel used, depletion of fuel reserves, replenishing that reserve?
We wrap that into our operations and maintenance costs.
Okay, that's an
included in the
OM.
29. Mhm.
Okay. Going to your FY26 budget request, you've got procurement. Let's just focus on procurement because that's what we're talking about largely. You've got $413 billion, which in and of itself is an 84% increase over FY20. I'm sorry, I'm in 27, 27 versus 26. And you have 38% of that total procurement request in reconciliation. Does that reconciliation request include anything from the war in Iran?
Obviously, we're buying things in the reconciliation requests that are being used in the Iran conflict, including munitions. There's over $40 billion in a munitions request and reconciliation, and so that would be part of the replacement.
Okay, so what I'm trying to get at is your reconciliation request in FY27 related to Iran, or is it not related to Iran, or what? Is it all?
You know how long our budget generation process is and the appropriations cycle, and so we completed this before the Iran conflict started.
Exactly. Okay, so what you're coming back to us with is not the reconciliation is not about Iran. The reconciliation is about assumptions that were made before Iran.
It's about making a generational investment in the joint force and building military readiness. That's what our budget request is.
Okay. I'm going to get back to some of the questions that were asked earlier, which is, what is the assumption that you are making in terms of future reconciliation bills in future fiscal years? How much of this is loaded into this particular fiscal year? You had a big reconciliation last year, which was portrayed in the same light, and now you're coming back for a huge one this year. Is another one on the horizon next year then?
For our budget request for 28, we expect to request that as discretionary only, and I believe the top line for that is 1.23, which will be our request that year.